Okay, so hi guys. Today I wanted to talk to you about bombing ISIS. So about a week ago, President Obama said that they were going to start bombing ISIS in Syria and then later on move on to Iraq, possibly Iran, and other parts of the Middle East. And here is my opinion, and I believe a good portion of America's opinion on said matter, is that bombing ISIS is not going to work. Bombing Iraq and the war on terrorism isn't going to work. And Russell Brand made an excellent point. I forget his exact quote, but basically he was saying, just because you sit behind a fancy desk saying bomb, bomb 'em, it doesn't mean you're better than the people in the Middle East saying that they should bomb Americans. It's still killing either way, and that's my biggest issue with it. And especially with a situation such as ISIS. ISIS is a group of just very radical Syrian rebels that we actually ended up aiding, and are indirectly aiding, actually. They're, like I said, they're rebels. Unlike a military which has a set base or has large numbers, ISIS isn't really formal, per se, and they're more so scattered. They don't have they necessarily don't have a base. They will just like run and hide. Bombing isn't really going to get rid of them, instead of it more so just causing a lot of collateral damage and a lot of loss of civilian lives and innocent people. That's another thing. With war, people always tend to forget about the casualties. They are human beings, just like we are. When you actually think about it, they're not just evil people who are like, I'm evil, so I'm going to do this. They actually have a cause. The reason that there are a lot of terrorists is because the Middle East is so brainwashed into thinking that Americans, we're taking away their religion and we're oppressing them and we're doing this and this and this and all these bad things, and so they're like, wow, they're evil. And if you were faced with someone who is oppressing you and taking away your rights and forcing you to change and do things you don't want to, you'd want to get rid of them. It's all a matter of perspective, and I feel like a lot of people, especially Republicans who are just completely pressing for total war, fail to forget this. War isn't going to solve anything, and I thought this was something that we were all taught when we were children. What happens with war is that it spreads hate, and this is why it doesn't work. It spreads hate, and it makes, if I punch you in the face because I don't like the way you're going to dress, that's not going to stop you from dressing that way. That's just going to make you hate me, and probably it's going to make other people hate me because they're going to say that I'm a violent person because I disagree with their opinions. Like I said before, war isn't going to stop terrorism. War isn't going to stop ISIS. It's just going to cause a lot more problems. And I think one reason why Republicans and so many Americans are pressing for war against ISIS is that there is so much money that comes out of war. If you win said war, you get a lot of money from the opponent's side, but then the companies also make war for ammo, for tanks, bombs, for guns. All of these people make money. There's so much profit that comes out of war, and that's the main reason why I think most people want to wage war against Iraq. I'm sorry, not Iraq, ISIS. Oh god, I'm sorry. There's a pretty good song by Megadeth. It's like, peace sells, but who's buying? And as much as I agree with that, peace is a very good alternative to things because love transforms things. Peace does not sell. Peace does the opposite. It puts people bankrupt because people are not buying products to kill other people. Peace brings love. Love brings conformity. If I'm an accepting person, you're going to want to be friends with me. If I'm a mean person, you're not going to want to be friends with me. If I punch you in the face, you're not going to want to be friends with me. If I punch your friend in the face, you're probably going to take to your friend's side, and both of you are going to attack me, which is why bombing them isn't going to work. But say, if I understand what your problem is, and I realize that, and I actually open my mind and have some perspective, and I understand your problem, I can reasonably have a discussion with you that's not violent, that doesn't involve killing. We learned this in kindergarten, guys. Violence doesn't solve things. But it seems that when it comes to war, no one really cares about that anymore. I remember we brought this up in my English class. We almost had a discussion about this. However, my teacher was like, how did this get brought up? We were talking about plagiarism and just completely like went off topic. But I remember saying that Americans are just adding to the problem with ISIS and terrorism because we keep attacking them, and we're not. Just because we're attacking them and we're Americans, that doesn't make us better than the terrorists that are attacking us and other people. And so one girl commented and said, but we're preventing a further problem. No, we're really not. We think that just by obliterating something, it's going to have no repercussions. But in reality, people are going to see us as, wow, they're just destroying something that they don't like and something that they don't understand. That's not a cool thing to do. And they're not going to like us either, and it's going to cause a lot more. For every person that you kill, they have family and they have friends, and they're not going to like you for killing one of their family members or their friends. And they're going to hate you. Basically, war spreads hate, peace brings love, and love brings conformity. Martin Luther King Jr., Gandhi. Yes, both men died, and I believe Gandhi was assassinated. I believe he was assassinated. Martin Luther King Jr. was as well. However, that's one death. And yes, I feel very contradicting saying this. I don't believe that people should die, and I don't believe that people... Well, actually, I take that back. I don't believe that people should be killed. However, if you're going to kill one person to bring justice to a bunch of other people, that's better than having people on both sides be killed. That's a very contradicting thing to say, and I realize that, but that's my views. Killing should be left to a minimum. Best would be no killing or violence at all. And you're going to get a lot of violence towards you if you're going to try to be peaceful. However, peace is a more moral thing to do. I just think, on a related note, it's actually really funny because a lot of the people who want to wage war, aka Republicans, are very religious, and religion says that we should be peaceful and we should turn the other cheek. I feel like this whole war and bombing Syria has less to do with actually wanting to get rid of Syria, but more so it's that they want to make money, and they also hate the other side because they don't understand them. It's a lack of understanding for the other side's perspective, and just because they're different. Differences don't automatically mean that something is bad. I think that you should try to understand differences. If you really want to be a good person, if you really want to bring change into the world, you need to first be the change you want to see in the world. That's a great quote. And second of all, you need to understand and be able to have a discussion with someone, have a reasonable discussion, be able to work out differences. Again, this is something that we've all learned when we were little kids, and everyone seems to forget it unless they're like people like me saying this and actually calling people out on that. And even that, I'm going to be called ignorant, and be told that I don't understand a problem that's happening. I understand this problem, and I completely disagree with it. For every war that there is, or anything else, or actually, I take that back. For most wars or acts of violence that there is a peaceful alternative. It doesn't, and I'm not saying that we as Americans are going to go out and be peaceful, because I know that we're going to get attacked. If that's something that's going to happen. If we're saying, I'm putting down my guns and I'm going to come up to you a lot of times, or at least sometimes, people are going to say, well, if you're being peaceful, then that just means I can kill you because you don't have any weapons. I think it calls for both sides to be able to put down their guns, have a reasonable discussion, and work out their differences. Again, like I said, a lot of the Middle East and all of these terrorists view us as these hateful and people who oppress, these hateful oppressors, and all of these just horrible people. And we have the same perspective of them because of what they've done to us. But we've also done the same thing in the past, such as invading Iraq in 2003. And again, bombing them a week ago. It's not going to help. That's basically my little rant on things. If I missed anything, I'm sorry, ask. If I made anything unclear, I'm sorry, ask. But that's just my little rant and my perspective on everything involving ISIS and the war on terrorism. Yeah, attacking terrorists just brings around more terrorism. And then one other thing that I feel like people don't understand. Muslims view Islamic terrorists the way that most Christians view the Westboro Baptist Church. So, I'm sorry. That's all I got for you. So, yeah.